Welcome to Seize the Mains by Malhotra's IAS Academy. I'm Surbhi Sardana and this is Season 3 of our Daily Answer Writing Initiative. This initiative runs in coordination with our website, which is rajiasacademy.com. On our website, in the mains answer writing section, you will see a lot of questions with their model answers updated. What you can do is go to the mains answer writing section. We discuss here one question for mains with model answer every day from Monday to Saturday, and each question gets uploaded on the website. Check out the topics that have been covered, check out the model answers and try to write your own answers to those questions, because it is just continuous practice that will help you get a better rank in mains and make it to the final list, to say the least. So yes, the question for today has been updated on our website. After watching this video, click on the link in the description that will take you to rajiasacademy.com, and there you go. The topic for today is prison reforms. Let's see what is the question. Highlight the issues associated with the state of Indian prisons. Briefly discuss the measures that can be brought in to improve the conditions of prisons in India. Answer in 250 words. See, prison reforms as a topic has been already taken on Seize the Mains earlier. If you go back to question number 57 on Seize the Mains or our website, question number 57 is related to state of Indian prisons or prison reforms, but that was specifically with regards to under trials or the issue of under trials in Indian prisons. This is a general question. Let's go through this question once again and let's see what are the requirements of this particular question. Highlight the issues associated with the state of Indian prisons. That means you need to talk about what are the issues that are prevailing in the Indian prisons per se. So that's your first part. Briefly discuss the measures that can be brought in to improve the conditions of prisons in India. So see, this is not a philosophical question, it is not a comment based question, does not require your viewpoint. There have been a lot of committees with regards to prison reforms that have been formed from time to time. There is a report of Law Commission itself that has given a lot of measures to improve the state of prisons in India. You already have the example of open prisons that that are operating in Rajasthan. We always inculcate example of open prisons of Rajasthan in our answers with regards to prison reforms. So this question is going to be very simple to answer if you already know the topic. Even if you do not understand the topic, try to gain understanding as we move ahead. So as usual, we start by writing a good introduction to our answer. If the question is talking about prisons or associated issues with the prisons or prison reforms in general, talk about Indian prisons in like maximum 3 lines. Give some data, give some statistics, what is the state of Indian prisons. Then highlight the issues associated with the state of Indian prisons in your body paragraph 1. That is going to be very simple. We'll see 5 major issues here. Then briefly discuss the measures that can be brought in to improve the conditions of prisons in India. Briefly discuss the measures to improve the conditions of prisons. Again, whenever you're discussing measures to improve conditions of something, you should avoid using language that is giving an order to the examiner or giving an order to the government or administration. Even if you want to say something very strictly, quote the source of that information. For example, Law Commission report, in this case the report of Mullah Committee. So that ways you can use words like should and must. Otherwise, use a very diplomatic language. Your answers should not appear as if you are ordering the bureaucratic structure or the political leadership of the country. Let's first of all write an introduction. As of now, you don't have to talk about prisons in general. We'll talk about prison reforms. That prison reforms are much needed, much debated, long awaited. So prison reforms are a much debated subject matter and have been the point of discourse for many committees appointed by Government of India. However, despite many suggestions made on multiple occasions, the ground level situation with respect to prison reforms remains gloomy and stagnant, as the following issues have continued to stay. So in just 2 lines, you have given your introduction that yes, you understand the topic, you've written a general statement which reflects that okay, you understand the problem or you understand this topic and you have been following this topic for a very long time. And this also serves as your linkage point to your body paragraph 1, which is about the issues with regards to Indian prisons. So Indian prisons basically face 3 issues, 3 structural constraints, long-standing structural constraints. These are overcrowding, understaffing and underfunding. So underline these issues, mark something like a flowchart, have a flowchart with this, that overcrowding, understaffing and underfunding are the 3 issues, and all other things, most other issues flow from these. So strengthen this point by giving some data that the inevitable outcome is subhumane living conditions, poor hygiene and violent clashes, etc. The saturation of prisons has been found to be over 100% in some of the prison establishments, and in some extreme cases to the percentage of over 500% of the total capacity. So by using this example or this statement, you have actually strengthened the issue that you were pointing out. Second is the lack of proper legal aid and abuse of authority by the staff. On the one hand, there are under trials who do not know how to get a bail, or who do not have relatives who can afford a bail for them, or they do not know how to approach the court, find an advocate for themselves. And on the other hand, these people who are already suffering at the hand of their own destinies, because they have not been convicted, but they are under trials, they are waiting for a judgment. On the other hand, there is abuse of authority by the staff. The powerful inmates enjoy all kinds of illegal luxuries, whereas the poor are discriminated against because they do not have to their credit similar patronage. So this has been something in news time and again, that there are convicts who are powerful, who come from rich families, have a lot of political patronage. They enjoy all kinds of luxuries in the prisons. They have like their own groups which they lead inside the prisons, while the poor prisoners who might not even be convicted, or who might not even be convicts, actual convicts, they are being discriminated against. This highlights the discrimination between inmates in jail. The staff that do not indulge in corruption face problems too due to inadequacy of human rights training. The third one is the result of these problems is that the inmates upon release are not prepared to reintegrate with the society. So everybody stays away from them once they are out, whether they committed a crime or they did not commit it. Probably they were clean, but they had to stay in the jail for months or years altogether because of the slow judicial process, or they were just waiting for their cases to receive a judgment. So because of that, they cannot reintegrate back into the society due to psychological factors, also due to the environment they see in the jails. Thirdly, due to the high level of prevalence in unemployment already in the country, they cannot find good employment opportunities also. So that is a problem that comes from staying in the prisons even as under trials. The reformation of the prisoner, which is the main objective of today's punitive institutions, is undermined. So that is another issue. See, these are elaborated points. What you can do is, again, create a flowchart, create a pie diagram with all equal sections. Have all equal sections here, because if you have unequal sections in a pie diagram, that would represent percentage. So have equal sections, pie diagram, have a flowchart, have another diagram to represent these points, and then just elaborate them. The fourth one is physical and mental health of the inmate suffers tremendously. It has been seen that the rate of disease incidents such as HIV, AIDS and tuberculosis is many times greater in prison populations compared to the general population. This also flows from lack of infrastructure, overcrowding and things like that. Fifth one, there is no good quality infrastructure for women inmates. Women cannot be treated like men. They need entirely different kinds of facilities, entirely different kinds of treatments. They cannot be treated at par with treated equally as male prisoners. So that kind of infrastructure, that special infrastructure, is lacking in the Indian prison system. Women are often more vulnerable to extremely challenging situations within the prison walls due to lack of proper facilities. Also, it has been estimated that women prisoners are 50% more likely to commit suicide as compared to general women. Here, when you have given the case of women, you can also talk about children, that a lot of children whose both parents are serving their jail terms stay inside the jail itself, stay inside the prisons itself. So growing up in an environment where they see their parents being treated badly, or they do not have an identity, that puts a very negative psychological impact on the children also. So there is something that has to be done about families where, you know, both the parents are inside jail, or the one sole guardian is in the jail, and hence the child has to be brought there to be staying with that person, to be able to stay with that person. So that is something that needs to be improved. In the body paragraph 2, as we have been asked, what are the, just briefly discuss the measures that can be brought in to improve the conditions of prison in India. So let's see what are the what can be done to improve the conditions. First of all, it is needful to upgrade the existing prisons and set up new ones. The prisons that are already operating, they have you know, past their lifetime. The infrastructure is not good inside these prisons. They are very old, centuries old. Now we need new prisons also, and we need you know, bigger prisons as compared to before, because our population has multiplied a lot. We would become the most populous country of the world next year in 2023. So since our population has increased, that means the crime rate also has, you know, at least proportionally increased, if not increased exponentially. Let's say proportionally it has increased, and even with that proportion, the number of criminals would be higher, or the number of under trials would be higher. So we need bigger and we need more jails. The second one is safeguarding the rights of economically backward inmates by providing them you know, good legal aid, by making them aware of their rights. Your Legal Services Authority, NALSA, is doing a great job in that regard. NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, is doing a great job in that regard. But again, more reforms and safeguarding of these rights need to be brought in, because again, we have a lot of inmates and not and a very few number of people who are operating to safeguard the rights of prisoners. So this was something suggested by Mullah committee. Definitely quote this committee in your answer. We'll be quoting law commission also, and we'll be quoting other committees also. So just keep a check what are the committees that you need to quote here. The third one is to decongest prisons. The Code of Criminal Procedure, which contains the much needed section 436A, needs to be activated. Now what it is, it provides for an under trial to be released on a personal bond. So this is a very big step, that with or without sureties, if the under trial has spent half of the period of prescribed imprisonment in detention, that even if the under trial has committed the crime and that person has spent half of the jail term that he would have otherwise got after the judgment, if he has already spent half of the jail time in the prison, then definitely on a personal bond, that person should be released until unless his judgment is not out, judgment is pending. So that way, the case of under trials and overcrowding of prisons that can be handled. Next one is about open prisons. Definitely talk about this. This has been recommended by All India Committee on Jail Reforms, constituted in 1980. So see, some of the reforms, these are very old, which have been suggested, but they have not been implemented till date. So definitely quote them in your answers. Life convicts who offer a good prognosis should be transferred to semi-open and open prisons as suggested by the All India Committee on Jail Reforms, constituted in 1980. You can also give example of Rajasthan here, open prisons in Rajasthan. The central government in 2016 introduced the Model Prison Manual, and this prison manual, basically prisons is a state subject. Also prisons is a state subject, that is something you can add in your introduction also. So according to this modern prison manual, which was directed towards the state government, conditions for prisoners or rehabilitation of prisoners, that was specified the rights of female prisoners, human rights, rehabilitation of prisoners in society, laws for prison inspection, and the right to education even for death row convicts. That all of that was specified, all of that was listed, the conditions were specified, but only 11 states have implemented it. So all states must be urged to adopt this central government's manual. There is a need to make jails modern and technologically adapt with stringent security measures. See, a lot of under trials die inside jails because there is a lot of crime that goes inside the jails as well. And to introduce better living and health facilities, libraries for sure, training programs for prisoners to help them get back to society. For example, when they are released, they should be able to find a job and support their family. And initiatives to promote mental development, that should always be there. Linking prisons with courts through video conferencing so that early judgments can happen, results can be announced earlier, easier, the convicts do not, the under trials do not have to be taken to the courts on a frequent basis, on a regular basis, for the judgment to be announced. So this will this is something that will help in quicker judgment. The state should fill the existing vacancies in all ranks of prison departments expeditiously, because we have a lot of vacancies pending in the prisons department. Also use this point 8 as one of your issues in the body paragraph 1. In 2018, this is the recent one, Amitav Roy committee recommended special fast track court should be set up to deal exclusively with petty offences which have been pending for more than 5 years. So that is something important here. Separate institutions with women employees alone. Now this is a point which is specific to women prisoners. So separate institutions with women employees alone for women offenders should be set up, and necessary provisions to restore the dignity of women even if convicted should be in place, as suggested by Justice V.R. Krishna Iyer Committee on Women Prisoners. Now our body paragraphs have been very long. We discussed a lot of issues and almost double the solutions we have given by quoting various committees. It becomes imperative that you write a very short conclusion, end your answer with just one line. That should be something very creative, because conclusion and introduction is something where you get judged at very highly, and your body paragraphs, they get you marks if your presentation is better, and if you're adding some content which other people are not adding. That comes from your daily newspaper practice. How do you inculcate your newspaper? How do you get your data, viewpoints? Where do you get it from? And how do you do that on a daily basis? So maintain separate sheets for data, for viewpoints, for vocabulary, for quotes, anything that you find new with regards to GS paper syllabus. Maintain separate sheets or maintain a notebook with regards to all these topics. In the conclusion, what we'll do is that we'll say that punishment is not, the aim of punishment is to improve a certain person. It is to get him back into the societal order, how society operates, teach that to him. That is the sole aim of punishment. So it could be happening by talking also, but since the crime is of such order, that punishments also have to be of that great extent. So punishment is necessary for any society, that is something we agree. However, it is also the bigger responsibility of the society, of the government and the judiciary to ensure that jails become a medium for such people who are not criminals by nature to get back to society and not be forced to become criminals. So that is something that is very catchy here. In conclusion, it must not be overlooked that the issue of prison administration and reformation of prisoners is just a piece of the bigger picture of social recovery. So these lines, moreover, more or less, they mean the same. It's your way how you put your creativity out there and how you choose to answer this question, especially towards the end. Definitely there are n number of points with regards to prison reforms which you must have heard of or observed around or read about in newspapers. Definitely inculcate all of those in your answers. For now, this is the model answer given by our team to you, brought by our team to you. This entire answer has been uploaded on our website, which is rajayesacademy.com. Visit our website by clicking on the link in the description. Check out this answer, and in the comment section under this question, post your answers to us in the form of pictures or in typed format, whatever suits you. I'll see you with another discussion tomorrow on Seize the Mains at 9 p.m. Till then, stay tuned and all the best.